Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 177 for March 9th, 2016. My name is Russell Frost from the Prius Owners Group. I'm just checking my phone because I didn't want Michael to overplay there. And welcome to our show this week. I am lucky enough to have with me in my long journey into alt car and sustainable energy hell? No, wait, no, it's going to be a good show this week. Lots of good things, not bad things. Luckily, I have some fellow sojourners, and with me this week is live from Chicago. He's not watching the Blackhawks game, so if he falls asleep, just bump him a little bit. Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hey, everybody. I just want to let you know that the Hawks did score against St. Louis in a power play goal.
So you did get the game.
Yes, Andrew Ladd, who we picked up recently. So it's going to be a great postseason. Looking forward to it. Speaking of postseasons, we should kick it over to our Montreal friend. You can.
I don't want to talk about postseasons at all.
Oh, that's cold. That's cold. But let's talk to our man in Canada, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everyone. Just a friendly notice to those in Washington, D.C. Don't be concerned about all the Canadian Maple Leaf flags flying today and tomorrow. It's just our prime minister's in town for the state dinner. So just so you know what's going on. It's not an invasion. We're there on friendly terms.
You know, it's just so against stereotype to think of Canada invading someplace.
A Canadian invasion. That'd be like, hey.
Hey, we're sorry, eh?
You mind if we hang out for a while?
You might have, can we just hang this flag here? We brought Molson.
Oh, you brought Molson? Right on.
Yeah. Okay. Come on in.
Well, speaking of Molson, our other Canadian import, he currently is Mr. Boulder Hybrid Conversions in beautiful Boulder, Colorado, and his name is always Paul Guzik.
Hey, glad to be back. I'm not drinking Molson. I'm drinking a beer which for the first time is not from Colorado, but a customer brought it in, and it will get drunk. Pyramid beer.
Pyramid
Nice.
Rye.
Rye Pale Ale, so
Wow.
tasty.
That
Must
sounds
be from,
good.
From Egypt, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's all the way from Egypt.
The Egyptian hops.
Pyramid Seattle, isn't it?
Yeah, Seattle. What does it say here? Seattle, Portland, and Rochester, New York. Well, go figure.
Wow, Rochester.
It's pretty dispersed.
And you know, the first question is, what old brewery did they buy in Rochester? You know, because nobody
Kodak.
builds there in Kodak. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. Yeah, the great yellow father, not so great anymore.
No.
Well, I guess we could focus on Kodak and my sadness about their somewhat demise, but let's not. That's boring. Let's instead start with the news, and I believe we're going to kick it off with Mr. Paul Guzik.
Yeah, my story was in Green Car Reports today, and it's about a gentleman in Colorado who wanted to buy a new, not a used, Nissan Leaf and get the best possible deal. And, around Denver and Boulder, electric cars are kind of popular and fashionable, and so you don't get the greatest deals from the dealers, but of course you get the state and federal tax credits. Anyway, he went up to oil country, Weld County, Colorado, about 2 hours north of Denver, where the number one selling vehicle is probably an F-150. And anyway, snagged a Leaf from the Nissan dealer in Greeley, Colorado, and his effective cost after all rebates and whatnot was $8,500 for a brand new Leaf.
Nice.
So, sweet deal for a brand new. I mean, you can't get a Hyundai crap gas car for that price. So, or a
That
Chevy
is actually
Sonic,
the
or
model.
yeah. So you know, if you go a little bit out of the way, you can get some good deals on electric cars. Just got to have a plan to get it home. But the article talks about, how he did that.
Paul, you hear stories about this here and there about different car brands. Is it because these dealers want to get the car off their lot? Like, what is the reasoning that sometimes you move outside of a metropolitan area and go to oil country or go north or south, that these type of deals pop up every once in a while?
Yeah, I don't know. It might be dealer games where the dealer in oil country to buy a bunch of pickups at a discount. Corporate says, well, you got to buy a couple of these electric cars as well, or we won't sell you, 25 pickups this month. Who knows? Or maybe they thought they would sell it, and then it sits on the lot for 2 or 3 months, and they just want to get rid of it. So, it's like anything. Smart buyers should shop around.
Yeah, that is definitely a tactic that back in 2004 and 2005, when the Toyota Prius was just coming on the scene in the second generation. On Prius Chat, we were telling people, if you can go outside a metropolitan area, and for people here in the Chicagoland area, they were selling very well in Chicago. I waited 8 months for mine. The estimate when I put in my order was that I would be waiting 13 months. I got lucky at 8 months. And then you heard stories of people who would drive to the middle of nowhere, Illinois, or nowhere, Iowa, or isn't
that all of Iowa?
Yeah, well, okay, so the middle of Iowa. Yeah, I mean, like Paul said, you're in.
Sorry if anyone's listening from Iowa.
We just lost our only Iowa listener.
So you drive in the middle of diesel truck dually country,
Right,
where
sure.
nobody was going to take a risk on one of these newfangled hybrids that can't tow and whatever. And yeah, people were scoring really good prices, and I think this is something good for everyone to pay attention to and really think about, because when the 2016 Prius comes out, sure, it's a more popular car and the Leaf is more well known, but you can still do things like this, go in the middle of nowhere and get great deals on these cars.
Yeah. And it's a lot easier than it was back in the day. You can search online and find who's got them in stock and call them up or email them, say, hey, I'm a serious buyer, give me your best price. If you're not competitive, don't waste my time.
Yeah, and these dealerships are looking at each one of those parking spots as, how much profit is parked in that spot.
And depending on their financing partner, if they don't move a car within 90 days, they start paying a higher interest rate. So as the clock ticks, they want to get rid of the inventory.
Yeah.
Right.
They're either going to lose money in the sale, or they're going to lose money in carrying
finance
costs.
charges. Yep.
Yeah. So that's definitely. I mean, a lot of it. I don't want to say it's luck, but I mean, some of it is stumbling onto the dealer who's hard up to get rid of a couple of cars.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, great story. Great.
That's amazing. $5,100 off from the state.
Yeah. The state of Colorado is very generous.
The state of Colorado gave him $5,000 to buy a Leaf.
And the federal gave him
and a free bag of recreational marijuana as well. Just kidding.
To help him get back.
You get that as soon as you cross the border, don't you?
The state troopers are just handing it out as soon as you cross. Yeah.
Welcome to Colorado. Stay a while. Have some munchies. Welcome to Colorado.
Here's some pot. Here's Dark Side of the Moon. Knock yourself out.
We play Wizard of Oz every night at 8. There we go. Okay, enough stoner humor. Hey, Paul, thanks. That's it's a story that makes me wish I lived in Colorado.
That's the only reason.
I'm sorry. I'm just kind of stuck on that now. I don't really know where to go. I'm going to go to Tony because Tony has another story.
I have a story that was submitted by Andrew Bell. Hey, Andrew. Thank you. Thank you very much. We keep throwing out the challenge for people to give recommendations for stories. Andrew stepped it up and said, hey, thought you'd be interested in this. And, it may have been in response to me talking about, electric buses being purchased by municipalities. And so he wanted to bring attention to the fact that St. Albert in Alberta, Canada, has purchased 3 35-foot electric buses.
You mean Prince Albert?
Well, this is in a bus, not in a
Prince
can.
Albert, Saskatchewan.
Yeah. I had to look this up. St. Albert, like I said, is in Alberta, and it has a very, very famous suburb to its southwest called Edmonton.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
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 Not a hockey town.
Not this year.
Oh, you went right there.
You
Wow,
brought, dude, you
Schaefer.
threw me a softball. What'd you
The
expect?
set and the spike.
So anyway, these buses are being paid for by the town, by St. Albert, and partially by the let's see, where did I oh, I had to reload the Green Trip program done by the Alberta Transportation. So it's green, and then TR from Transit Incentives Program. So it's called Green Trip. And the Green Trip program is working to basically green up transportation. And
Is this all allusions to the Colorado pot thing? Because that's all I'm hearing.
as a matter of fact, they started this program several years ago in anticipation of our Colorado pot jokes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm
Pretty sure, yeah.
Man, these guys are proactive.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
they
amazing.
say Canada's going to legalize recreational marijuana at a federal level. So they're just
That's what
getting ahead of
their new prime minister claims, right?
Yeah, that's why he's in Washington.
Prime Minister.
Selling the job.
So that's a Green Trip grant program of another kind.
So does everybody call him Prime Minister Coverboy, or is that just a few people?
Call him what?
That's just a few, Tony.
Just a few, okay.
A few chosen.
Wow.
All right. So this just to wrap this up, the story is just that St. Albert has purchased 3 of these buses, which is a definite step in the right direction. Hopefully once they get these buses up and running, they'll purchase some more. They cost a little under $1,000 each. They talked about some trials that St. Albert
$1
Transit.
million each.
What did I say?
1,000.
Oh,
Those are
yeah.
damn cheap buses.
Yeah, they are. Oh, the buses cost $1,000. To buy the seats, they had to pay $900.
No, they are Chinese buses,
Yeah.
but I don't think they're that cheap.
No, it's
Yes,
$1,000
yeah.
a ride on the bus.
Yes, yeah. So the buses were about $1 million, and they were talking about a trial in 2014 and 15 with electric trains. One thing I found interesting is that these buses are being purchased by BYD. Yes, that BYD.
You mean built by BYD?
Well, they're being purchased from BYD. So BYD built them.
Gotcha.
BYD Coach and Bus Limited. So, so BYD is definitely expanding and putting stuff out there. Although their website really sucks, because I tried to pull some data on these buses, and BYD's website is really pretty crappy.
That's a surprise.
There was another story this week that BYD has sold more electric cars in the last year than Nissan or Tesla. It's actually #1 seller of plug-in vehicles in the world, with 98% of them being sold in China, except the 3 buses in Prince Albert.
Yes.
In St. Albert.
St. Albert, not Prince Albert. You're confusing 2 different things.
Hey, you don't want to come down on St. Albert, because it was voted the #1 best place to live in Canada in 2014.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Man, they kept that quiet too.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would. Are you kidding? Yeah.
I haven't
Now
moved yet.
Now they've got electric buses. So
I noticed that the city tagline is "Cultivate Life," and once again, I keep coming back to the same theme. I think these people are preparing for a reality that's not quite there
Cultivating
yet.
something else. Yeah.
Yeah, they're cultivating something. Well, it's good to see. Obviously, these electric buses hit the dirt on this side of the ocean. I'm trying to remember. I'm racking my brain as I'm talking, trying to remember if any American cities have bought any BYD buses, and for some reason, I'm thinking they haven't.
Not that I know of. I know that the buses that were purchased by Chicago were not BYD.
Right. Mark, I'm just, or Paul maybe. I mean, crash standards in Canada versus the U.S., are they more
They're very
lax?
similar. No,
They're
they're
the
similar.
same. Almost
So-
the same.
If it can get by in Canada, it can certainly get by in the U.S.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huh. That's a
But
little
maybe
weird.
buses have different standards.
Yeah,
Passenger cars are very strict.
right. Doesn't Bombardier build stuff like this?
Not electrified buses, no.
Not electric.
They build
okay.
rail
Yeah.
cars.
They build rail.
In fact, in our city, Bombardier is building our light rail transit system. So we're getting 14 trains that are made by them.
I think San Francisco added the new line that goes out to Pac-Bell Park. I think it's Bombardier. I'm trying to remember, but yeah. Well, enough of me trying to remember. Let's go to something that I can remember. Our friend Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield at Transport Evolve reported on a story that has gotten a lot of press in the last week, and that is kind of a sad trombone noise, wah, 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 for all the Leaf owners out there who own a between 2011 and 2014 Nissan Leaf. The CarWings program installed in the Leaf, which is their telematics system, unfortunately is equipped with a 2G AT&T network. AT&T is shutting down that 2G network on December 31st, which means those Nissan Leaf owners are suddenly going to lose their already kind of unreliable CarWings telematics program.
It turns out you really can go from bad to worse.
Yes, things can get worse. Now, the bright side
But at least
is,
no one can hack into it now.
yeah,
It's the ultimate in security.
you see a hacker outside a Leaf with an abacus. You know,
A razor flip phone, yeah.
flip phone. Hit the 7 3 times for R. Yeah. I mean, the good news is Nissan has already committed. The 2015 Leaf is also affected by this 2G hardware. Nissan has already committed to providing those owners of 2015 Leafs with complimentary upgrades. The new 2016 Leaf is being built with, oddly enough, and I guess this is probably economy, oddly enough, a 3G AT&T.
Well, I'm sure they saw it coming, and I'm sure the 3G is backwards compatible. So it
Couldn't
just
spring
makes
for
sense.
4G, huh?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, isn't like LTE been deployed for like 3 years now? I mean, really, 3G? I get sad when I look at 3G on my phone. You know, but anyway, so Nissan is going to update or provide some sort of update module. Or modification for those older Leaf owners. They will charge them for it. But I think the point I wanted to make with this is, number one, cheers to Nissan for updating the 2015 buyers. I hope they don't hose the other 2011 to 2014 buyers with the charge to update the system. And one more argument for a completely modular telematics system that isn't dependent on the technology that was designed 3 years before the car was actually built and is obsolete by the time a buyer gets it, much less 5 years into ownership.
Yep.
Did I cover everything on that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
I think so, but I had a couple of different thoughts on this. I mean, the fact that they're charging, they said they're not gonna charge them everything. Nissan's going to pay for some of it for the 2011 to 2014?
Yes.
But it did say in the article that really the CarWings program was supposed to be free for 2 years, and then you were supposed to pay for it year to year to year. Well, and then actually because it sucked so badly,
Right.
Nissan never charged them. But so technically, they're being asked to pay for something that they were kind of expecting to have to pay for anyway.
Right.
I know this sounds kind of crappy, but
Well, I guess it also depends how much. If the hardware is, $100, that's one thing. If it's $1,000, it's going to suck.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. If you're paying $1,000 for 3G connectivity, when
With
you
buggy
can.
applications.
One more time.
Now, on the Volt side of things, a similar thing happened with our cars, was that they were on 2G as well.
Oh.
When you bought a Volt, you received OnStar free of charge for 3 full years. After 3 years, you were able to subscribe and continue with OnStar. And when the 2G notification came out, Chevy let the owners know that if you do renegotiate your OnStar subscription, we will put the new hardware in place in your car, a 4G unit, for free.
Oh.
So you had to pay for OnStar. If you paid for at least a year, you could book it in, and Chevy would replace the unit with an LTE unit going forward.
Well, that's kind of
Very
nice.
cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's reasonable.
Did
This
that
is some give and
include
take.
the GM mobile hotspot that they're advertising now in the new cars?
I believe it does. Yeah, I think the unit is a solid piece with that included.
So, Mark, what year is yours?
Mine's a 2012.
So, do you have you upgraded to this?
I have not. I just let it the subscription lapse at this point. But I have talked to them, and yes, if I wanted to, I could just give them a call, sign up for a year, and drop my car at the service bay, and they would upgrade it to the new unit.
What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking that similar to what you described about the Nissan application, have had those hiccups and misses.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of hesitant. I'm going to wait and see what others that have got the upgrade think. If it is worth it in their minds, I'd be interested to find out. So we've got a few people that have done the upgrade, and we're just kind of fielding the response.
What do you mind telling us what a year of OnStar costs? Do you know?
It's all over the board, depending on the multiple different packages you can choose from.
I have no idea.
Yeah, there's basic, there's directions, there's an in-between one. So but if just basic, if you pay a year in advance, it's minimum $25 Canadian a month. That's if you put a year up front.
$3 American right now.
About $3 American.
Oh, that's not right. That is so not right.
So it is a little bit pricey, but it depends on your use of the car. Like,
Sure.
Right.
I've got an iPhone, so do I really need it?
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what 200.
Am I going to use it for a hotspot? Probably not.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you have an iPhone.
Because I have an iPhone that it's its own hotspot.
Yeah, so that's like $300. So it'd be $300 a year. Is that right? $25 a month, $300 a year.
Yep, that'd be $300 a year. Now the Canadian price is more expensive. In the States, it's a more reasonable amount.
It's cheaper in the U.S.
Much cheaper. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know.
And there are deals available in the United States as well. If you go to your Volt advisor or you talk to OnStar, you have the ability to knock them down somewhat. That negotiation does not happen in Canada.
Wow.
Wow. Is
That's
that because
not
the Canadians are too polite to negotiate?
We can't. We have no ability to put up
No.
an argument. Zero.
I would
No
hate-
bargaining ability at all.
I would hate to see you at an Indian bazaar, my friend. You would be broke in half an hour.
Yeah. Mark, I give you a raise, but you didn't ask for it.
I can't ask for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's crazy.
I do like
Taking advantage.
what you were saying, Russell, about some of these telematics and these parts in the cars that are interchangeable. That as a car, and we've covered this so many times with infotainment systems, that like my 2004 Prius is now 12 years old, which means the entire interface and all the hardware in that car is 12 years old. And having plug-and-play parts means that you can upgrade your car throughout the lifespan of the car. So anyone listening to this on audio doesn't understand why I'm stuttering. What are you doing, Russell?
I don't know. I'm playing with my tablet. I'm thinking that a tablet like this costs like $300.
He's waving an iPad.
Yeah. And I'm wondering why, and I could upgrade this for $300 any year.
It would be so cool if the automakers just had a dock in the center of the car that you could put latest and greatest iPad, tablet, whatever,
whatever.
and wait.
And on top of that, Russell, that iPad is good for how many years of free upgrades?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, until really probably 5 or 6.
Yeah.
We just not long ago got rid of my wife's first generation iPad because it just, I mean, like it ran so slow on a system that, was
Did it have
designed
a
5 years
flip
ago.
screen, like a flip phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but we had to put coal in the back of it. It was really inconvenient. It would get hot and it would smoke, and it was no fun to use in the house. She's got to sit outside. It's Florida, and there's mosquitoes buzzing around.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell it was a mess. So, once again, modular telematics, modular entertainment systems in cars, probably too good of an idea. One that favors the customer maybe more than the car company. We'll never see it, but
we've started to see it though, haven't we? We've started to see it.
Started, yeah.
There is
Maybe.
Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. Those things are starting to roll out, so it'll be interesting to see if they can keep up with the pairing of the phones.
We'll see.
Yep.
We'll see how that works. Yeah, it will be interesting. I mean, maybe Google and Apple will find that it's not beneficial to them to keep updating a car system. I don't know, what is involved for them.
Or
Now the
Google and
big
Apple.
question is, will the Apple car have a Android-compatible docking
Oh
station?
God! Don't even get me started on the Apple car.
So the question is, like, Russell, with your iPad, the example that you gave, and you get free software upgrades, but as we know, developers tend to use more memory and new app calls, and they're more taxing on the harder or the older hardware.
Yes.
So let's say you have Apple or Google in your car. At what point are they going to go to the manufacturers and say, you need to upgrade all your hardware in order to support our new applications?
Right. Well, and that's exactly my point in saying that the car companies need to get out of this business completely because, number one, they can't write software. They've proven it over and over again. Whether they're using Microsoft Sync, sorry, did I say that, Microsoft?
Wow.
Whether they're using Ford MySync or CarWings or Intune, or you thought I was going to leave that up, Paul? You know what I mean? Whatever. All these systems are terrible.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a one yet that works, whether it's a Lexus or a Mercedes or whoever. Even Evan Fusco was in here complaining about the Tesla system, saying that, yeah, you know what, it's pretty and it's big, but it's not all that in a bag of chips. So at least let the companies who do this for a living screw it up. Make the hardware plug and play. Just put connections in there for an Android tablet, for an Apple tablet, for whatever, and then put a safe place to connect it that won't get blown out by the airbags. And let the user update it. If I've got to spend $500 every 5 years and buy a new iPad or a new tablet, I mean, it's better than spending another, $2,000 to update the MFD in a Prius and get...
Or
Yeah,
$1,000
just for the crappy nav DVD on a Prius, it's like $250, and it's outdated.
Yeah.
As soon as they publish it, it's outdated.
And you end up with a screen that looks like it was harvested out of a 1975 Vegas
Asteroid
poker machine.
Oh yeah, the multi information screens in cars these days makes my 2004 looks like it's rendered with crayons.
But even the new ones aren't. I mean, in the new cars aren't that great. Not compared to a Retina iPad.
Well, right, yeah.
The Tesla's badass.
Yeah, it does depend on what you're comparing it to. But yeah, I mean, if you're comparing it to an OLED, Retina display, then shit, nothing out there comes close to that.
Well, let's talk about Tesla software for a minute.
Okay.
Our friends at Autoblog published an interesting story, and if you're an Apple user and you follow the news online, you'll see this you'll recognize this technique as being very familiar. A hacker named Jason Hughes said that I guess he's well known for hacking into the Model S system. Said that he found out that there's going to be a Tesla P100D, which would be currently their biggest one is an 85 kilowatt hour Tesla. This would be obviously a 100 kilowatt Tesla.
Oh, that's how that works.
Yeah. Jason claimed he found this in the code for the current Model S.
Yep.
And that's not uncommon for Apple to put in software for anticipated products so that they don't have to update everything. If they know something's coming out, they'll bury it in the code that says if this device, that kind of thing. So interesting, if true. We'll see.
Well, and he put it out there. Yeah, there was a great line in there from him that said,
Elon took me off the list. I can't buy any cars.
I'm not the only person with access to their car's internals and under no real obligation to keep anything I find secret on Tesla's behalf. So he put it out there, and he said there's going to be a P100D, and Elon didn't deny it.
Didn't deny it. I heard Elon went to his house and smacked him around.
Yeah. No, he just deleted him off any purchase
right.
Waiting list for any future Tesla.
Sent him a card that says, "This is the last Tesla you will ever own."
Yeah.
Actually, Jason responded that I guess apparently his Tesla, which he owns, it took a remote command and tried to downgrade his software to the version before where he found the reference.
Mm-hmm.
And he tweeted this live to let people know that the car has, it was attempting to cut him off, as he put it in his words, but he had downloaded a backup of it. So it was kind of interesting, and even Elon responded to it and said, well, it wasn't done by my request. And then he said, good hacking is a gift, is what Elon replied with. So
yeah.
It's interesting that this guy now feels that maybe Tesla kind of took a swipe at him.
Yeah, he definitely took a swipe at him. Or what they were doing was they were trying to take the firmware away from him so he couldn't find any additional secrets. Maybe that means there's more Easter eggs in there for him to find.
Possibly.
He did say in here that, where did he say it? He did say there was more stuff. He hinted to, he told them, I know your secret. He let out about the P100D, and then he, in the article, kind of specifically said that there's more stuff that he's not talking about.
Okay, so can I be the party pooper for a minute?
You can try.
Is there anybody here that didn't think that at some point Tesla would deploy a larger battery pack in the Model S?
Well, and I think it's
kind of like obvious that at some point they were going to do,
And I think that at some point Apple is going to have inductive charging on their iPhones. It's just that they would rather be the one getting the press by announcing it. That's the way I'm reading this. If anything,
right.
Tesla would be pissed off that he leaked it. They wanted to be the ones to pull the covers off and say, "Look what we did."
Then they shouldn't have put it in the code without cloaking it or scrambling it or something.
Right.
Well,
I agree.
99.9% of Tesla owners aren't coders, probably, and probably wouldn't take the time to hack their car.
Right.
So I mean, who would look, right?
It only takes that 1%.
But as well, there's a lot of engineer types who buy those cars because of their technological features, and geeks like to play in the sandbox. So
yeah,
right.
I suppose I don't. Yeah.
I mean, look at how much people reverse engineered the Prius the first couple of years it came out. There was all kinds of technical stuff. So, and you look at the Chevy Sonic, like who cares?
Did you just insult the Sonic?
You really think they're burying secrets in the Sonic firmware?
Yeah. Silicon Valley's brightest engineers are hacking into their Sonics.
Yeah.
They're just being more quiet about it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, speaking of quiet, and I don't know why that's a crappy segue. My apologies. This is sort of I'm reporting on this week because I think it's dumb.
That's a better segue.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let me just get this out here. Alex
That's the only
Davies,
reason that matters.
yeah. Alex Davies, writing for Wired magazine, wrote the headline, and I quote, "The electric car revolution is now scheduled for 2022."
Siri, reschedule my car revolution to
Yeah,
2022.
and apparently it won't be televised, though. Who would have thought? Oh, wait, somebody else. The first sentence, once again, allow me to quote quickly from this. The long-awaited, oft-delayed electric car revolution is now scheduled for 2022. Mr. Davies goes in to explain how research firm Bloomberg New Energy Finance, which honestly at that point my eyes just glaze over, and I start drooling and I just go to sleep. I think about, you know what, I could go back there and watch the new James Bond movie, or I could read the rest of this article. Guess what I did? No, I read the article, and honestly, it's as much recycled kind of like my thought here is if anyone pays Bloomberg New Energy Finance money for conclusions like this, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, but this does throw back to an article that I talked about a few episodes back, where the anticipation of what they call the S curve, where a technology is slow to take off, you have a few early adopters, and then all the criteria just hits just right. The price comes down, people see the value in it, and then it just shoots off. And that's what they're predicting for 2022, that the cost per kilowatt in battery, the cost of the car, everything is going to come down. The infrastructure is going to is going to be in place, and so that's where Bloomberg Financial says all of that is going to happen at 2022. And I'm willing to bet the people who wrote the articles are going to be retired by then, so they don't care.
Exactly, and that's my thing. Like, how many people at Bloomberg New Energy Finance predicted that gas in 2015 and 2016 would be under $2 a gallon?
Zero.
Yeah.
Right. And that right there sort of sums up the high-tech quality nature of their predictability, which is, I would set it effectively zero. They're just like anybody else, any one of us
Just
guessing.
pulling stories out of their ass.
Put it politely, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did anybody...
We could make a prediction like that.
Well, we make predictions like that all the time, but we don't cloak it in Bloomberg New Energy Finance says.
And we don't charge for our studies.
Right. We're like some dudes on What Drives Us, and here it is. Take it for what it's worth. Did anybody read anything in this article that really jumped out at them and wow, there's an exciting new insight that I never thought before?
No, it's something like you said. You hear these stories over and over. The times seem to change, but it's not like this is brand new news. This is just a different date and a different organization putting their stamp on it.
Yeah, in this case, it's like Wired magazine took 3 different articles talking about the electric car revolution, ran them through the Press-O-Matic, and came up with a new article.
I like that. Does the Press-O-Matic have a crank on it? Because it should.
Is it like
No,
the
it's
Systematic?
It's like the Bass-O-Matic. It's actually Dan Aykroyd.
It makes a tasty drink.
Yes.
There was one paragraph I want to highlight in here. Tony Posawatz, and none of this is meant to demean or diminish Mr. Posawatz whatsoever, but they quote him in this article, and here's the confirming, like the tepid sort of confirmation. Quote, the 2022 timeframe is, quotes within this sentence, apparently referring to something Posawatz said, certainly within the realm of possibility.
What isn't?
It's like all the movies that say inspired by true events. Right. Everything in life is inspired.
Yes.
Exactly. Everything in this story was inspired by true events. Guess what?
The realm of possibility. Inspired.
Electric cars are coming, and they're going to be. You know what? They're going to be more popular, and by 2022, they could be really popular.
Yes. And I'm thinking that I'm going to move to Hollywood and marry Emma Stone. That is within the realm of possibility.
Emma Stone?
Oh my God, yes.
Do I know who that? I don't even. Okay, what am I doing right now? What am I doing right now?
Looking at my second wife. Is that what
Really? Really, her?
No.
Oh, Tony.
All right.
No, Tony. What has she been in?
We'll agree to disagree.
She hasn't been in anything.
Tony, just so you know, it's not within the realm of possibility.
I'll let you know in 2023.
Thank you. Mark crushing that whole thing about Canadians being nice people right there. Crushing Tony's very nice. Well, speaking of nice, let's end tonight's news with something nice from the nicest person on this panel tonight, the one who just crushed Tony Schaefer's dreams, Mr. Mark Conley.
An interesting article came up this week concerning the Chevy Volt, and a particular Volt, a 2012, similar to mine, that Mr. Eric Belmer owns out of Ohio. And Eric's Volt this week crossed over the 300,000th mile.
Wow. Cool.
With, on top of it, very little maintenance, just regular tire rotations, a couple oil changes here and there. And besides that, no major issues according to Eric. Now, this car is traveled every day to and from work, and his one-way commute is 110 miles.
Oh, wow.
So he's
That's
doing
brutal.
some serious mileage per day.
Yeah.
And as luck has it, Eric does work at a GM foundry plant, and therefore he can plug his car in while he works, and it's fully charged and ready for him to head home. So he gets a charge there and a charge back, and out of the 300,000 miles on his car, about 105,000 are run on EV alone.
Wow.
So about 35% of his total mileage has been run strictly from the Volt's battery.
And the battery, gas engine, all that's all original still?
Correct.
Wow.
Wow.
So the car has really held up well with the mileage. He's had it again since 2012. And he has been on different websites over time. People have been watching his count grow, and he is the first car into this type of mileage out of any of the Volts that are actually on Volt Stats or people that publicize what mileage their cars have.
Wow.
I mean, we had a Volt come in the shop with over 100,000 miles, and it was in excellent shape. I mean, you know, those cars are holding up really well. I must say I'm impressed that it's a GM product, and they did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. They really did.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Tony. It almost sounds mean, but it's not. And Belmer reports that he says his batteries, he's still getting the exact same EV mileage that he got when the car was new. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is because of the thermal pattern they have in these batteries. These cars are designed to be workhorses, and they are designed to have a before and after buffer for battery so that they can be depleted and charged in thousands of cycles and not affect the actual storage capacity of the battery.
I'll tell you what, the Chevy Bolt just got a lot more attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
if they're doing the same technology in an all-electric as they're doing in the Volt, then if they can pull out 200 miles and keep it under $40,000,
Right.
it just 2022 is coming
It'll
a
be
lot faster.
12,000 in Colorado. So.
Yeah.
If you go to Colorado, they give you that, a bag of pot, and $10.
And they'll even throw in the album Animals for free.
On vinyl, dude. On vinyl.
Perfect.
And a ticket to the planetarium.
Of course.
Oh, we just
And there's a
lost it out.
Renaissance, there's a Ren Fair gift basket in the trunk.
Man, they just keep throwing stuff
We're
at
just
us.
going to keep going and going and going. What else does it come with in Colorado?
And I just thought for fun I would throw up actually my stats, nowhere near as impressive as Eric's. But you can see that I've got, since I've purchased the car used, I've got 27,000 kilometers.
You need to translate that to American?
I knew someone was going to ask that, so I can. I can transmit. There we go. American speak.
Look at that.
Thank you. So, because I was looking at all those KMs and Ls thinking, what the hell is this?
So you can see that since
17,000
I've
miles.
purchased my car, I have only burnt 132 gallons of fuel in 17 months.
129 mpg. That's impressive.
Great.
That is really impressive.
That is amazing, my friend. Yeah.
So, and again, similar to Eric's story, you know, in 17 months, the car has, knock on wood, been fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that I thought was funny in the article is, and I'm guessing these are rankings that, you know, he's number 1,769 in terms of his EV percentage. And I'm thinking,
Correct.
yeah, if you're logging 220 miles a day, you would be, you know, number 1,700 too.
That's right. What we should do in the show notes is add, if someone has some interest, there is a site called voltstats.net, and Eric's stats, along with thousands of others, are on that website where you can freely look up all the different volts that are registered, see their mileages, see how they rank in North America listings. So it's kind of interesting to see.
I love how his car is listed under.
Voltstats.net. Is that
Correct.
what you said, Mark? Okay.
Voltstats.net.
I love that he named his car Sparky. And
I'm putting that in there now so that I don't forget. Interesting.
yeah.
Well, Mark, thank you for that. Anything else on the 300,000 mile Volt?
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude.
That's great.
insane. And Mark, seriously, thank you for having the English.
The English.
The American screen. Yeah. It was all in English, so to speak.
English numbers.
Yeah. Those kilometers always freak me out.
What the heck is that?
And them lighters. What's a lighter? So, all of a sudden, I'm from Montana. Oh, there's another state that will never listen to this. It's Iowa and Montana this week.
Hey, calm down, Russell. We can't afford to lose states like that.
We lose 2 more listeners. We cut our listeners in half. So at this point, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to start the end of the show shout-outs, and let's start with Mr. Paul Guzik.
No shout-outs, but a shameless plug. Boulder Hybrids. Website's boulderhc.com. And if you have a hybrid or electric car anywhere in the great state of Colorado, come on by. We'll fix you up.
BoulderHC.com. Paul Guzik is the man. Go see him, or you're a fool. On that sort of soft marketing note, let's go to...
Free bag of weed with every
I
oil
was-
change.
whether I was going to have to be the one to say that or not.
Really,
No.
look in your glove box when you
We are
leave
not
Boulder
licensed to
HC.
distribute.
Just look in your glove box, yes.
Yeah, there'll be a
It's in
bag
your
of-
glove box because they're not licensed to
Look in
distribute.
your glove box before you cross the state line, please.
Yeah, because the state troopers, as you enter the state, are giving out bags. They're taking them away as the
Right.
cars leave
As
the
you
state.
leave. You're not allowed to leave
They
with
walk
anything.
across the interstate, hand them out to the people entering.
Do they take them away or do they say you have to consume this before you're allowed to leave?
All right.
I got nothing.
Window.
Mark, help me. Mark, help me. Help me, Mark. You're my only hope.
Oh, that's saying something right there. So,
Yeah.
just a hello to the Waterloo Voltec group, and let people know that we're doing another meetup on March 22nd. If you're in the KW area, please look us up. Send us a note on Twitter, right there at WR Voltec, and we'd be happy to have you join us.
Okay. What KW area?
Kitchener-Waterloo.
I guess everybody who lives in that area knows what that
They
is.
knew it. Yeah,
Okay.
they knew it.
Because
Yeah.
I'm thinking kilowatt or
You're still
something.
thinking kilowatts and liters.
Kansas, Wyoming.
Yeah, what's KW? What is this? It's a kill zone? What is the Canadians don't talk like that? And before I turn the mic over to Tony, I want to say for my missing partner in crime, Mr. Danny Cooper, if you have a Prius and you need accessories, go to the Prius Chat shop. That's priuschat.com/shop for all your Prius accessory needs. And Prius Chat if you own a Prius, because what the heck, it's kind of fun. Tony Schaefer, save me.
Yeah, and I happen to be the moderator at a little site called priuschat.com, and a lot of chatter around the Gen 4 Prius. There was a lot of chatter before, but now people are actually buying them, so we're hearing from the owners, which is always good. It's always good, it's always fun, it's always informative, because as you know, there's marketing hype and there's commercials, and you don't really know what the end product actually looks and feels and how it drives until someone actually buys one. So we're hearing from the owners.
I hear if you're a bank robber, it's a good getaway car.
Yeah.
It really is. I saw a documentary on that once. It's a very short documentary. Yeah. And I do want to remind everyone about facebook.com/whatdrivesus if you're not already there. And I do want to remember, I had to remember, and I'm glad I just did. Russell, do we have an RSS feed for the show?
Are you really going to out me right now? And let's go look. We do, and I don't know the address. But
Okay,
you know what? I'm going to post that at whatdrives.us and on the Facebook page.
because we got that question, and I wanted to make sure, and
Yeah, no, I will have to look at that. I am horrible when it comes to some technical issues, and this one is one of those things that I'm horrible at. So look for an answer soon at facebook.com/whatdrivesus.
it wasn't me. Come down on Frank. Frank's the one that outed you.
No,
Yeah.
you could have just covered it over, kind of.
I'm not giving shout-outs to our listeners. I'm outing them, man. Take it out on Frank Capizzo. It's his fault.
Okay.
I did give a shout-out earlier to Andrew Bell. Thank you for your article. And, some other people, Ryan Scheck and Bruce Johnson, Dave Hawkins, Philip Barclay, Ryan Tabraw. Thank you so much for engaging with us and, following us on Facebook. Really do appreciate that. We love hearing from you all. So if you're not on the Facebook page yet, if you haven't liked us yet, the address is facebook.com/whatdrivesus.
And what's taking you so long? We've been on the air like 6 years. Come on.
And it's true. It's sad because it's true.
Yeah. 6 years. Help me. That almost goes back before time began. Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. So let's see. We've done the Tony. We've done the Danny Cooper plug. So all I'm going to say is thank you to my fellow panelists here: Paul Guzik, Tony Schaefer, Mark Coughlin.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, gentlemen. You made the show much better than it would have been if it was just me talking and looking earnestly into the camera going, really, believe me, there's going to be a Tesla PM100D. Because that wouldn't have been like a crazy face either, right? But that's it. Thanks all of you for listening. Download us next week and find out what drives us. See ya. Well, wait a minute. Tony says I need to let this play out.
Hawks are still leading.
Do we care?
Go Hawks! See you guys. Thanks.